next part of this lesson is reading animal signs. So there was an actual profession called augurs, and the action of interpreting animal signs is called augury. Augury. One of the most respected augurs was Julius Caesar in Rome. In ancient Rome, certain officials were tasked with interpreting animal signs, observing and interpreting omens from animals to then help with public affairs. Although originally augurs were specifically bird speak, where the augurs were interpreting what the birds were saying. Eventually, augurs were referred to anyone who interpreted and used animal language and behavior for divination. Augurs studied nature. They eventually started to specialize in a specific branch of the animal kingdom. They learned to read their signs. So part of animal spirit guides to connect with them is learning to be an augur. So to better connect with them, you need to learn to read the signs. And some of the things you can do to lay that foundation to relating to nature are things we can do every day, because nature speaks to us every day. You just have to reconnect with her. There are a few things you can practice on your own. And one of those things that I did already speak about was to go out and find your patch of nature. If you're lucky enough to live in an area where you are very connected to nature, then by all means go out, take a hike, and listen to the animals, listen to the plants, observe them, observe what the animals are eating. If you're living in the city, again, you can do what I do, which is go to the park. I'm close enough to the beach because I live on the East Coast that I'll go to the beach as well. Living in New York, we're lucky enough to have about 600 native species to New York City alone. And they're there for us to observe and reconnect with. It's just a matter of doing it. So examine the wildlife that is endemic to your area, because chances are the animal spirit guides that are coming to you are somewhat related to that. I mean, obviously, if you have a lion and you live in New York, it's not a possibility, but you can still experience nature and the other animals and see how they connect, how they work within nature, and listening to them and observing is key to interpreting the animal spirit guides in your life. Basically, you're developing your observation skills, which a lot of us don't have, and especially with so much social media and other things to distract us from being present and being mindful, it's easy to get away from that. And I think that it's important for us to connect. I have found the more I connect with nature, even in the smallest ways, like I said, just like taking care of the squirrels that run up and down my fire escape, it improves my observation skills, and it improves my relationship with my animal guides. So the landscape is really important as well, where the animals live, where you live. The landscape can have as much symbolism as the animal life itself. It's good to look at your home, your yard, the area you live in. What shape does it have? How does it affect you in your life? And what does it take to live where you live? The importance of developing observation skills with your animals is a priority for you to connect with your animal spirit guide. We're connecting with animal spirit guides that do not communicate verbally like other spirit guides. Even though you may be clairaudient like myself, meaning you have clear hearing or psychic hearing, you're not going to hear your animal say anything to you. You can feel what they're sending to you. So if you are clairsentient, you could potentially have a feeling of what they're trying to express, but you have to read their behavior more than anything. So it's important to learn from the animals on the physical plane so you then can interpret the ones in the etheric plane. This is a very feeling and emotion-based type of communication when it comes to animal spirit guides. So you're working with the lower self, the instinctual, intuitive part of yourself. And that's the way you will be connecting with your animal spirit guides. So for augury, I want you to go out and practice. If you can do it every day, that would be amazing. But I know, being practical, the average person has either a job or other responsibilities to their families that may not be feasible for you to do it every single day. But if you can, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that would be amazing. If not, put it into your practice as much as you can. Basically, all you have to do is go outside. You don't even have to go very far. You can take a walk down your block. You can go out to your yard. If you're lucky enough to have a park like I do, go to the park. Or if you have a beach nearby, or if you have any area that might have some wildlife. But again, if you live in the city, you can certainly just walk down the block and listen to the birds and the plants that are in your neighborhood. Or if you only can go out to your yard, same thing. So when you go outside, I want you to really pay attention. Maybe if you can, close your eyes and listen. Just listen. Pick out the animal sounds. There might be other noises, especially if you live in the city. But you'll hear birds sing. You'll hear squirrels bark or skitter on a tree. And you'll hear the trees rustling or plants in the wind. I want you to listen to all of that. Just listen. And then another day, I want you to observe with your eyes the actions of the animals. What are they doing? How are they interacting with their environment? How are they interacting with other animals? How are they interacting with you? All these things are incredibly important for you to develop that skill of observation that it is necessary to then interpret and build that communication between yourself and your animal spirit guide. Next, I want to talk about animal rights. And not animal rights as in animals have the right to live freely and without suffering, but animal rights as in a ceremony specifically to connect with the animal spirit guide. So RITES. So animal rights and rituals have changed throughout the centuries. indigenous cultures and the tribes of Europe all had their own practices to connect with the animals that they wanted their power from. And unfortunately, most of the rites involved in killing an animal, because it was believed that bloodletting of an animal would release the psychic energy or the spirit's energy out and into the priest, shaman, magician, or even witch. Now we know that not only that the human spirit, but the animal spirits are vital energy and powerful on their own without bloodletting. An exchange of energy can happen without bloodletting. If you're a Reiki practitioner, if you're a witch, if you are a tarot reader, if you're a psychic medium, any of those things, you understand the exchange of energy does not require anything except the exchange of energy. No physical contact needs to be made because, in essence, we are all energy. Everything's energy. So no physical contact in any way needs to be made. And I'm only going to talk about this for a second because I just want to include it, but I know that anyone that's doing this course is not going to be doing this. There are still practices to this day that do use animal sacrifice. And that goes from religious practices to spiritual practices. They're used as offerings, and again, they're also used to take their power on. This does not give you the animal's power in any way, shape, or form, or does it help your magic in any way. In fact, it has the reverse action. It is a low vibrational action, bringing down your vibration. Now, not allowing your spiritual development, basically contaminating you with this negative low vibration, and no amount of purification will get rid of it. You will have to live this life and possibly other lives living out that karma to be able to rectify the life you took, because it is a life that is taken, and all lives are equal. And a life taken as sacrifice for spirituality is like an oxymoron. So, like I said, I doubt anyone is going to be doing that here, but I just wanted to touch base on it just in case if anybody thought or heard something different. Basically, eventually the law of reciprocity will come back to level the playing field, and karma will work itself out. And karma, and when I speak of karma, I don't believe karma necessarily is something someone's dealing out, like some omnipotent being. Karma is the lessons you have chosen. And when we're not in our bodies and we are pure energy, we are spirit, we're very logical and very inquisitive and curious of what it is to be on both sides, the receiving end and the giving end of every experience. So if you take a life in this lifetime, chances are you're going to be learning about someone taking yours in another lifetime, or possibly in this one. When we talk about animal rites and rituals, in this case, in our course, we are talking about very specific, non-harmful rituals. For example, drumming. There's so many cultures and practices that use drumming because drumming mimics the heartbeat. It has that deep sound that invokes our lower self to connect. And it's that heartbeat that connects with the energy all around us. So drumming or music that incorporates drumming could be really helpful with connecting to your animal spirit guides. It helps us also reach different states of consciousness, which will help you connect with your animal spirit guide. Drumming can help us reach alpha state because, again, it puts us in rhythm with our physical body. And then our physical body gets into rhythm with our energetic body. And I'm doing this because it's that sort of like, almost like a circular heartbeat to it. You don't need any special tools to connect with the animal spirit guide. You just need yourself. Some tools are great for triggering your subconscious, of course. Like I said, drumming would be one of them. For people, everyone is different, you know, like also, singing bowls can be really helpful as well. I mean, it's something that I've been practicing with for a few years now, and it definitely puts me in an alpha state. And I would recommend that too if you're looking for something external to help you reach alpha state. As far as any animal-derived tools, so you can use animal-derived tools for honoring and connecting with your animal guides, but there's a caveat. It has to be gotten through no harm, meaning the animal wasn't made to suffer and cause tremendous pain for you to end up with that feather or that piece of fur or whatever the case may be. I'll give you some examples. I have a feather that I've had for like 25 years. It's a goose feather. It's a white goose feather. I got that goose feather from a friend's goose. His name was George, and George and I were walking one day. I know that sounds really ridiculous, but I was at their farm. It wasn't a real farm. It was just more like they had some animals that were their pets. They had a horse pet. They had geese. They had like a couple that was like a goose and I guess I can't remember what the female goose is. I guess a hen maybe. A goose and a gander. And the goose, George, he was very friendly, and I spent some time with him. I would walk with him in their pasture, and one day he dropped a feather, and I picked it up, and that's how I got my feather. And that was a really long time ago because I was like maybe like 15 when that happened. So another example of, like, for example, fur, right? Like fur, generally you think about like you need to kill the animal. Like the animal has to be dead for you to claim the fur. But I went to a wolf sanctuary last year, and they were selling actually little balls filled with the fur from the wolves at the sanctuary which shed their fur. So I have some wolf fur for my wolf animal guide. So those are some ways of having those items without them hurting an animal or that you caused the hurt or the pain. I wouldn't necessarily purchase something that you wouldn't know where it came from. You know, I had some students ask me once, you know, is it okay if someone gives you from like an animal that was hunted, you know, horns or antlers or any part of the animal, you know, is that okay? And it depends, right? Like, I don't want to judge anyone for hunting if they're doing it for eating. People need to survive, and I can't judge someone's needs versus wants, right? If you're doing it out of game or vanity, it's a whole other thing. So intention behind it also means everything. But for safety purposes, I would stick to things you find. Like, I've also found bones to different animals. They've literally washed up on shore, and they've been polished by the sea or the river or wherever I've been, or a lake. And I have bones from different animals. Some of them might be even chicken bones, because people sometimes discard their food and it ends up being washed into the ocean, and then the ocean brings it back and cleans it. Then the other option you have, if it's something that you really, really would like to do, is that there are people who do sell ethically sourced bones and other animal parts, generally from foraging. I know one woman who would forage for prairie dog and other small animal bones, because she would find them dead for, you know, whatever causes they had. You know, usually a predator probably got them, but that is a natural part of their cycle of their life. That is a natural part of their life cycle. You can also work with someone who's a taxidermist who, you know, gets their animals from roadkill or something like that, although the animal might have suffered quite a bit, so that is a sensitive thing to possibly get involved with. You have to feel it out, and that's what I would recommend, is that just truly feel into it and see if it's okay for you to have this. But like I said, I would generally stick to any animal product sourced ethically, meaning the animal was not killed by a human being, that it died in a natural cycle, or that it just shed, you know, its feathers or fur or teeth or whatever. Animals shed their skin, their fur, their teeth, feathers, scales, so many things, and those things can be found, and there's people who actually collect them, so those can be easily found. Other ways of honoring your animal spirit guide also is something that some people do, which is mimicking an animal's gestures, movements, and postures to better connect with the animal's energies. And that's called shapeshifting. And we will be doing shapeshifting exercise after our meditation. And that will be up momentarily. So I just want to give you a couple of more things, information about honoring your animal. So another thing that we talked about a little bit, we touched on other ways of honoring your animal, and these are not so much rituals or rites, but they are a way of honoring your animal, and you can set up an altar. And here's the altar to the goddess Diana and all my animal spirit guides, which are the rabbit and the owls and the fox. I also add some crystals and other items I think that resonate with the animal spirit guide.
And here's my wall full of dedications to the wolf and the owl and the fox. And this is a painting I worked on with my animal spirit guides.
And now for our meditation. And some other things that I want to leave you with also are that the animals and the energies associated with them will express themselves throughout your life. In the beginning, it may take a little more observation and developing that skill and seeing the manifestations of it. But it will get easier and become more natural to you. There will be trial and error in the development of your relationship. And again, it is a relationship, and with all relationship, there are also boundaries that we need to get through. And just because you recognize the animal in your life doesn't mean that it's going to work for every aspect of your life. And I also urge you to be mindful of who you share this newfound relationship with. You're going to be excited once you have this relationship and you're going to want to share it with people. What I will say about that is just be mindful who you share it with, because with any sort of energetic work, we know how it works, right? That if there's doubt or any sort of low vibrational or negative, negative in quotes because I don't want to say negative really, any vibration that's going to go against your very fruitful, positive work that you've done towards the relationship could potentially be hindered by someone's negativity. For example, if they start telling you, oh, it's not real, or whatever the case may be, you know, those are seeds that are planted in your mind, and those are boundaries and walls you start putting up. So be mindful who you share the information with. So preparation is key when it comes to working with your animal spirit guide. Learn as much as you can about that animal, about its behaviors, about its prey, about its predation, habits and behaviors, where it lives. Learn about the actual prey itself, like where do they live, what do they eat. All these things actually are important. And we're going to talk a little bit more too before we do the meditation about this, because it'll be important for the meditation. So when we research the animals that we do connect with, we want to not only research their, like I said, their behaviors, their predation habits, predation meaning how they hunt, who they hunt, so their prey, what their prey do also, what are their special skills, because sometimes we also get help from those animal spirit guides. So I'll give you an example. I had my first animal spirit guide was the rabbit. And later on, I told you I had an owl, a wolf, and a fox that came to me. I've had those for a long time now, but they came in as transient guides. And when you think about who hunts a rabbit, a wolf, an owl, and a fox, all three animals eat rabbits. It works in the opposite too, right? So it's not only, so it's their prey or their predator. Either way, you should learn about their prey or their predator. And then also you should learn about lore. Lore is important too, because especially within your own culture, is important because we do have symbolism around these animals that we've built throughout the ages, and that symbolism might resonate with you, and the very thing that's happening in your life might be affected by it. So I also recommend to study the mythology and lore of the animal. Like the squirrel that I talked about in the first video and I talked about earlier, the squirrel was part of the Norse cosmology, that it ran up and down the world tree, and the world tree connected all the worlds together, the upper, middle, and lower worlds, and other worlds in between as well, because the Norse believed that the tree encompassed 9 worlds. Unfortunately, we don't know all the worlds. But that squirrel lore is important in knowing about your animal spirit guide. So if you have a squirrel for an animal spirit guide and you read that, you can potentially go, oh, maybe I'm supposed to be someone who exchanges informations with other, like maybe I'm supposed to be bringing knowledge to others, because the squirrel is ferrying up and down that tree information to the gods, to other spirits. So that's an important part. Not only do we know that the squirrel is a great mother, and she has incredible empathy for other mothers' babies, and we know that squirrels are incredibly intelligent. They are amazing at triangulating, so they have like these math skills basically. So we know that's their behaviors, but we also want to know the lore behind the animal, because that'll also help us figuring out why are they present in our lives. And again, one size doesn't fit all. Like, just because you have a squirrel and your friend has a squirrel as your animal guides doesn't mean that they're both present in your lives for the same reasons. You are living very different lives. So the squirrel maybe in your life comes in because it wants to share its incredible empathy for others. And maybe in your friend's life, a squirrel comes in because your friend is supposed to share knowledge with others, but you don't have that because it's not part of your life plan. So I want to go over some of the questions you're going to ask yourself after the meditation, but I want you to read them before and listen before you go into the meditation, so you sort of have it subconsciously within you of the things you want to pay attention to. So you're going to use all your senses when you're going to do this journey meditation. You're going to listen to things. You're going to look at everything. You're going to feel with your body everything. You're going to feel what's under your feet. You're going to feel what's on your skin. You're going to feel everything. You're going to smell the air wherever you are in your journey meditation. Basically, you're going to use all your senses in this meditation so you can then be better informed of your animal. Okay, so now I'm going to read. So I apologize if I'm looking down. I'll try to look up as much as possible. I'm going to read the list of questions that I want you to ask yourself about your animal spirit guide when you're doing the journey meditation. And after you're doing the journey meditation, you're going to journal about this. I'm going to put the questions for you to download. And that way you can write them out and put your answers underneath it. And I want you to do this right after the meditation so it's fresh in your mind. Okay, so let's do them first. We do the meditation so that way you can have it in your subconscious. So knowing your animal spirit guides, I want you to ask these to yourself. Where do they live? What do they eat? How do they travel? Do they leave their homes? Are they a group or solitary animal? Predation. What are their hunting behaviors? How do they hunt? What do they hunt? What time of the day do they hunt? Who is their main prey? Where do they hunt? Are there sounds involved? Tools involved? Are they a solitary hunter or a pack hunter? Or, in the case of prey, who hunts them? Where do they hide? List of questions would be the same for prey, but just reverse as far as like the hunting. So instead of who they hunt, what hunts them, or who hunts them? How do they avoid being hunted? How do they flee? Do they run? Do they hide? What time of the day are they out eating versus the time of the day that they are being hunted? And who is their main predator? And where are they hunted? Do they make any sounds? Maybe they have warning calls to their group, or maybe there are, I hate to say it, screams when they are being hunted. Maybe they have tools to evade. And do they work by themselves to evade being hunted, or do they work in a pack or a group? Are they crepuscular, diurnal, or nocturnal? So, crepuscular meaning that they are awake most of the day and they sleep in the evening. Diurnal meaning that they're awake during sunrise and sunset, and then they sleep throughout the other parts of the day. Nocturnal, obviously, being awake at night and sleeping during the day. And it doesn't have to be 100% because some animals, for example, the raccoon is mostly nocturnal, but in the cases of mothers, or sometimes even in the cases of just, location of where they are, they might actually have to come out during the day to find food. Mothers generally will come out during the day to find food so they can leave their babies sleeping because their babies sleep naturally during the day. So she can't leave them at night when they are active because then they won't be safe. So these are some of the questions. And then what color is your animal? Or colors. Are they active at dusk or at dawn? Or both? What are its physical features, or any of them for a very special function? Marsupials, right? Marsupials have pouches, and that's how they take care of their young. Their young are born, but not ready to be outside. They're basically like almost like a fetus that crawls into the pouch to live there to get the nutrients that they need, and live there, and eventually start coming out of the pouch. So the pouch is a physical feature that has a very specific function that is very specific to marsupials. So that would be something to think about also, like, maybe they have incredibly large ears because their hearing's exceptional, or their nose is very prominent because their sense of smell is incredibly acute. Or they are able to jump very high, or perhaps they have claws specifically made for digging. Those are all examples of physical features that might be special to the animal that is to do a very specific function. And that's it as far as information for you to digest and the questions. Now we're going to go to the meditation. So I'm going to walk you through this meditation. I want you to find a very comfortable place. You're going to lay down for this meditation. Get a blanket if you need, a pillow. Get very, very comfortable, just as if you were going to sleep. You're not going to sleep, though. You're going to do a meditation. You might fall asleep, and that's okay because you might dream. And in that dream, your animal guide may come. So get comfy. Turn the lights down. If you want to turn on a candle, obviously safely. Do whatever you need to do. Go to the bathroom first, whatever. Take a break before you do this if you want to, and then turn it back on so you could do the meditation. It's up to you how you want to do this. And then after the meditation's over, I want you to take 15 minutes to write in your journal based on these questions that I just went over, and they'll be downloadable for you. I'll also have them up on the screen. And then I want you to continue the video after you're done with the journaling so we can do the shape-shifting exercise. All right, let's get ready. All right, now that you're comfy and cozy, I suggest actually doing this with headphones if you can, and that way you also block out any other noise. So if you're comfortable, let's begin. I ask my animal spirit guide to please show yourself to me as soon as the time is right for us. Let's ground ourselves now. Visualize roots growing from the length of your body, the part of your body that is laying on a surface. So your back and your legs and your feet are growing roots, hundreds of them stretching down into the ground, through the foundation, all the way through into the soil, deep into the earth, further and further. Your roots keep growing, and you start feeling warm the further you get to the center of the earth. And you're growing your roots further and further until they reach the center of the earth. And at the core, there's a beautiful, warm ball of light, golden and bright. Doesn't hurt your eyes. It just feels wonderful. And your roots connect to the core. And we ask the Divine Mother Earth to connect with her. Divine Mother, may I connect with you. And now that golden light goes up your roots, up through the earth, all the way up your roots. You're taking that energy up with you, further and further and further up until you reach the soil. And then you go further up into the foundation of the building you're in. And the energy keeps rising through your roots, goes through the floor, and into the surface you're laying on, and into your back, and into your solar plexus. And then the light floods your entire body, filling your whole body with golden light. And the light pours out of you and creates a beautiful halo of gold all around you. And now you are grounded. And now we're going to open our chakras. Starting with the root chakra. See a bright red light at the base of your spine. It starts to glow and it opens up like a flower and starts to spin clockwise. And the red light grows and grows and expands into your body and goes into your auric field. Next, we go up to your sacral chakra, right below your belly button. And this is a beautiful orange color. And the chakra opens up like a flower, and bright light emanates from it, beautiful orange warm light, and it spreads throughout your body and out into your auric field and meets the red. And next, our solar plexus, which is about where your ribs begin. And it's bright yellow, and it opens up like a flower and begins to spin clockwise. And the light emanating from it is beautiful and bright, bright golden yellow. And it expands through your body and then out into your auric field and fills your auric field, joining the red and the orange. And now we go to your fourth chakra, the heart chakra. Heart chakra is in the center of your chest. And it's bright green, like an emerald. Opens like a flower, and it begins to spin clockwise. And the beautiful bright emerald light shines throughout your body and out into your auric field, joining the yellow, the orange, and the red. Onto your fifth chakra, your throat chakra. It's the color of sapphire. The chakra opens up like a flower and begins to spin clockwise, and the beautiful blue bright light emanates throughout your whole body and into your auric field and joins the green, the yellow, the orange, and the red. And onto your sixth chakra, your third eye chakra. It's between your eyebrows. Here we see a flower that opens up, and there is a bright purple light emanating from an eye. This is the eye that sees everything that our eyes cannot. It emanates the most beautiful purple light you've ever seen. Violet like a flower. Violet like an amethyst. It begins to circle clockwise, emanating that light throughout your body and into your auric field, joining the blue, the green, the yellow, the orange, and the red. And your seventh chakra, your crown chakra, the top of your head. And here, you'll see a white flower opening with the brightest, most beautiful white light you've ever seen. With this light, we connect to all beings, to all of the universe, to all the deities, all of spirit, all our guides. It is the entry point into our auric field. It begins to spin faster and faster, and the light grows bigger and bigger and brighter, and it emanates throughout your entire body, out into your auric field, exploding. Your aura explodes with color, and it grows and fills the room. Your aura is huge and taking up all the space where you are, and it keeps growing and growing out the building you are in, and grows into the city you are in, and keeps growing out onto the planet, out into the universe. Your aura just keeps growing, so you can feel everything coursing through your aura, every beautiful thing. And now, I want you to visualize getting up from where you are right now. This is a visualization. Walk out of the room, out of your home. When you step out your front door, you will be barefoot, and you will enter another world, another plane. I want you to walk across a field. Feel everything underneath your feet. I want you to find the center of this field, and I want you to go sit there. See yourself seated. See yourself seated in nature, wherever you feel is your favorite place. Maybe a lake, the beach, a forest. Could be anything. It's up to you. Don't force it. Let it come. I want you to take 3 deep breaths. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. And again. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. And the last one. Inhale. And exhale. And the next breath, I want you to smell the air. What does it smell like? What does it feel like on your skin? Take a moment to have this experience. Slowly get up from your seated position. Look around. Are there trees, rocks, sand, a river perhaps, ocean? What do you see? What time of day is it? What are you standing on? Is it a soft grass or maybe gravelly soil? Perhaps warm sand. Feel it under your feet. Connect with the earth. Feel her life force surging through you. Feel your deep connection to the earth. Again, smell the air. Is there a scent on the wind? Is it the smell of the ocean? Or perhaps the smell of pines? Or flowers, maybe? Look around again. Do you see a path in the distance? Walk towards it, all the while being aware of all the sounds, smells, and sights around you. You get to the path, and you follow it. It is your path. You get to the path, follow it. Is your path full of trees, an open desert? Keep walking. Keep walking and observing everything around you. Keep your senses heightened. Smell, see, listen. Do you hear anything? What do you see? What do you feel? Is it cold? Is it hot? Is it temperate? Is it sunny? Is it raining? Is it snowing? You come upon a cave. There's a warm light coming from inside and a lovely smell drifting towards you. You enter feeling completely safe, warm, relaxed, and hopeful. You realize the light gets brighter and warmer the closer you get to it. As you continue to move further into the cave, a sense of complete love and security comes over you. You finally arrive at the light. You see out of its brilliance a beautiful being stepping out of the light towards you. You finally see it's your animal spirit guide. Say hello, maybe sit quietly and just be in its presence for a few minutes. And here I'll leave you for a little while so that you may connect with your guide. Now it's time to thank your guide for showing itself to you. Your guide goes back into the light, and you start making your way back to the mouth of the cave. Then you follow the path back, and you go back to your sitting spot and sit down. Close your eyes. And at the count of 5, you start coming back to your body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You are back in your body. You're back in your room. Slowly start to move your body, wiggle your hands, your toes. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes, becoming aware of your surroundings. Take it slow, be gentle with yourself. Take your time getting up. As soon as you feel comfortable, start journaling. Everything you experience, from location to your guide, to the smells, to what you heard. You'll have 15 minutes to write. And you can use the questions included in the download to help you journal. Take your time. Now that you've finished journaling, how do you feel? How is it meeting your guide? And some people may not meet their guide right away, and please don't be disappointed. It happens. And I want you to think about, though, some of the other factors throughout the meditation. I ask you to make notice of all the smells, sounds, and feelings and everything in the environment to make note of it. All those are clues to your animal spirit guide. So if you don't know who they are yet, you might actually have a clue based on what you saw or heard or smelled. It may be possible, too, that they'll present themselves in a dream instead. And I highly recommend setting that intention we set in the beginning of the meditation right before going to bed. And perhaps they will show themselves in a dream. You also can look out for a few things. You can look out for an animal that keeps popping up in everything, where, let's say, for example, you're watching a movie, an animal shows up in a movie or a TV show, or perhaps someone randomly starts talking about an animal, or maybe you pass a store and there's like an animal figurine or something in the window. Could be a book, could be an advertisement, could be so many things that might have your animal spirit guide trying to let you know who they are. So basically is being very observant and seeing patterns and repetition. So if you're seeing the same animal over and over again, chances are that's your animal spirit guide. And then you can go into your meditation and ask when you're in the cave if the animal is whatever it is that you keep seeing, and you probably get a response. So that's something else you can do. But chances are, if you are repeatedly seeing an animal, that is one of your animal guides for sure. And it may be something as not like, literal as like a fox showing up in your dream. For me, I had once in a dream when my fox started showing up where I was in an office, and the office had multiple doors in the back that were offices. And one of the doors, instead of a nameplate, had an image of a fox embossed in it, in the wood. And that was a symbol or a sign of my animal guide. So you just have to be very observant. So those skills of observation are critical when doing animal spirit guide work, not only for your communication with them, but to be able to discern who your animal spirit guide is if they're not showing up in a meditation. But chances are they will show up in a meditation at some point if they didn't in this initial one. I recommend doing the meditation a few times. You could do it regularly, even if you just want to communicate with your animal guide that you already know too. If you can have a meeting place there. You can also meet additional guides there. If you already know your animal spirit guide, somebody else might show up. A human spirit guide might show up. Another kind of spirit guide might show up. It's entirely possible. You're just creating a space for you and a guide to have a safe, even-footed meeting place. Okay. So now we're going to do our last exercise. And our last exercise is meant to make you be closer to your animal spirit guide. Now, if you did not see your animal spirit guide during the meditation, then the animal that you have the closest affinity to. So if you really, really love bears and you you collect bear figurines, or you love to paint bears, or whatever the case may be, if you have a strong affinity to a certain animal, then I would suggest using that animal during this exercise. Again, chances are that might be one of your animal guides, because our love for a very specific animal or an affinity to it, especially a wild animal that we've had really no contact with, generally means that they are our guide. And sometimes you can ask even like a parent, guardian, whoever raised you, if you had a favorite animal when you were a child that they remember. That might be a clue as well. Okay. So for our shape-shifting exercise, again, you're not going to see me. You're going to hear my voice, and I'll have some music on. And you just need to focus on the exercise. Normally, this exercise is done in a group setting. It's a little more powerful because the combined energy of everyone is very powerful, but it's perfectly doable by yourself. And I suggest clearing a space if you can, like space for dancing, a space for circling. So basically room enough for you to act like an animal. So, you might be down on all fours. You need to like run around and do stuff, exploring like an animal. So you need that type of space. So you might need to move a table or something in your home to make it safe for yourself. And you also might want some privacy because some people might get embarrassed by doing some of the mimicking of the animal. So it's good to be able to have the privacy. If you don't mind your partner or your family seeing you, then that's entirely up to you. But it is definitely it's definitely a private moment too. And it's a very intense moment. So it's good to have privacy and quiet. I want you to stand up. And you're going to start circling clockwise. You're not spinning, you're circling. So you're walking in a circle clockwise. So the walking turns into dance, mimicking your animal spirit in a circle. So if your animal crawls on the ground, you're going to crawl on the ground. If he walks on all fours, you're going to walk on all fours. You're going to mimic that animal. Anything you know about the way it moves, the postures, you're going to mimic. So, circling clockwise, dance mimicking your animal spirit in a circle. Keep circling. You're building up energy. You're feeling that animal. Then begin to spiral into the center of the circle. When you reach the center, pause. Feel and imagine your spirit animal. When you reach the center, pause. Feel and imagine your animal spirit, unformed energy around you. Now begin the movements and postures associated with the animal. As you take the stance and make the steps within the inner circle, mimicking the animal, feel its energy becoming stronger within you and around you. Take a seated position and within your mind, build an image of your animal. See the image forming and growing over the area of your solar plexus. See it form solidly within your mind's eye in front of you, at the level of your solar plexus. When you can have an image fully in front of you, begin to visualize it being absorbed into your body through the solar plexus region. Take its full essence into you through that center. Now, start with your feet or the hands. Feel them begin to change. Feel claws, paws, or talons forming. Where there was skin, imagine fur, feathers, or scales forming. Allow the change to come slowly and to move up the body. The last part of the body to change should be the head. This will help you maintain control. As you imagine yourself transforming, also visualize a door forming for you. A door that has engraved upon it the image of the animal you are becoming. This is a door to the inner world. It is easier to maintain the form on the inner levels than in the outer. So visualize the door opening and you going through it as the animal. Imagine experiencing everything this animal would experience once you've crossed the door. Eventually, it will feel like a vivid dream. It will become alive. You'll begin to feel the experience, not just observing it. On the other side of the door, you may find yourself in your animal's environment. But you may use the animal form to travel on the inner levels to outer destinations, like visiting people, the past, the future. You are the animal. Explore. Take your time. It's time to return. See yourself coming back through the door. And it closes solidly behind you. Then slowly your body begins to change once more, starting with the head. Then fur, feathers, scales become skin once more. Do not rush to transformation. When you have changed back, allow the image of the animal to withdraw from the body, again through the solar plexus. Imagine it completely outside of you once more. Then allow its image to slowly dissipate until it is simply an unformed energy surrounding you in the center of your circle. Slowly open your eyes and stand. Perform several animal moves to honor and thanking the spirit of the animal. Then move counterclockwise, spiral out to the perimeter of the circle. Visualize the energy dissipating as you do. And now ground yourselves again. Now dance to the outer circle counterclockwise. So this exercise, I do not recommend doing it often. It can become addictive, and it also can change your personality, believe it or not. So practice it when you can, but be moderate about it. Do not do it repeatedly. take breaks from doing it. It's more important to establish the relationship between your guide through meditation, through honoring in different forms. This shape-shifting is a way of honoring it and connecting as well. But again, I warn you, this is an addictive exercise that can change your personality. So please be mindful and please be careful. And with that, I leave you. I hope you enjoyed this course and that it carries with you for the rest of your life and it helps you with your spiritual development. All right then, have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and be kind to all beings. Bye.